Getting into the software field can be a great thing for many people, but believe it or not, there are some things that a lot of developers and software engineers do end up regretting as time goes on. And I want to share those with you today to make sure you don't have the same regrets that some of us do. The first thing is I want to make sure you don't get too comfortable with any company and with any job. This is something you have to be really careful of. I've been the victim of it, and I see many of my friends end up with the same mistake. It's very easy to get very comfortable with a company or a job, even if you know it's not the best thing for you. You can kind of compare it to like a bad relationship, to where it's somebody you know you shouldn't be with, but you just can't help it. You just don't see yourself with anybody else or in any other situation. At my last job, there was an architect there, and he was brilliant. I mean, he was one of the smartest people that I've ever worked with, and he was also well-rounded. He communicated well. He was very unselfish. He would always take time out of his day to work with you or to help you on something. But the environment was just not good in that company. All the developers were stressed and overworked, and they just weren't happy, to be honest. So I remember I had a personal conversation with him because we ended up getting pretty close as we were working on a project together. And I could tell that he was frustrated as well. And he didn't know that I was actually looking for a job at this time. And I asked him, what do you think about what's going on? Like, what do you think about the company? What do you think about the team? And he expressed his feelings to me about him being frustrated, and he wanted to make more money. He didn't like the environment or the culture himself. So I asked him, well, how long have you been here? And he told me he had been working there for over 20 years. Now you can imagine, I was pretty shocked at this, because if somebody tells me that they're not happy with a situation, or they're not even happy with how much they're getting paid, I would not expect them to be anywhere for 20 years. So then I asked him, I was like, well, if you've been here for so long, what gives you the hope that things will get better? Because in my opinion, I don't think things are gonna change much. And he told me, well, this is just kind of how things are. Things go up and things go down, which is true. But for 20 years, you have a really firm idea of how much things are gonna go up versus how much things are gonna go down. And then he told me that he's a creature of habit. So basically, he just doesn't like change. He doesn't like having to learn a new code base. He doesn't like having to get to know new developers, new team, new business. And that's really what has kept him there for so long. And honestly, it kind of made me a little sad, because I saw his potential and I'm like, you could be doing so much more. You could be at way better companies, or even making way more money with your expertise. But I didn't want to make him feel bad for who he is. Some people just don't like change, but you can really start to regret that the more you move on in your career. I used to struggle with the same thing. I would be very intimidated to change jobs until I actually started changing jobs, and then I realized that it's really not that bad. You have like a few months of time to where you're getting used to everybody, getting used to everything, but then eventually you start to learn their process, how they handle sprints, how they handle stories and all that kind of stuff. And then now that's your new job. You get comfortable, and it's not as bad as it seems. It's not like you spend an entire year trying to get used to your new team. And the second part to this is the money aspect of staying somewhere for too long. It's no secret that one of the best ways to get a better salary is actually to change jobs. It's very hard relying on yearly wage increases to get you to your monetary goals as far as salary, because they give you like 2 or 3%, or maybe a little bit more depending on the company, but then you have inflation that's like 8-7% or something. Those yearly increases are not gonna get you to where you want to be. It's very common for developers to spend like maybe 1 to 3 years at a job and then move on. So you can imagine how surprised I was when I hear that my friend at my last job was there for over 20 years. It's like extremely uncommon for somebody to be at a tech job for that long. And a lot of it has to do with money. So don't ever feel like you can't leave somewhere. If you know that you deserve better or you can do better, then start looking. The next thing is not taking personal finance seriously. Now, a lot of people are attracted to this field because of the higher salaries, and I don't blame you. But if you do get a higher salary and then you increase your expenses along with that higher salary, you're not really getting ahead at all. You just have more expensive habits now. So when you see people that are in software and they became millionaires, they don't have $1 million salary. They use the salary that they had to invest, to save, to start side hustles, or open up another kind of business or consulting or something. That's how they get to that money. It's not from just working at a salary job and having a whole bunch of expenses and nothing else to show for it. So this is why I take personal finance very seriously. When I started to get higher salaries, I used those salaries to start getting rid of debt, to start investing, to start trying to do, other ways of making income. You want to use this higher salary to make more money. The worst thing you can do is to get a higher salary and then increase your expenses along with it. If I was making, let's say I was making $40,000 a year, and my yearly expenses came up to $20,000. Let's just keep it simple. So that gives me $20,000 that I can use to my discretion. Now this discretion could be clothes and shoes, or it could be investing and saving. So let's compare that to now I'm in software and I'm making $70,000, but I've increased my expenses up to $50,000 because I wanted to lease a car, or I wanted to get the biggest house that I could find. So now all my expenses are up to 50, and now I still only have 20,000 of room. That doesn't make much sense. You get the higher salary, try to keep your expenses as low as you can, live below your means, and use that wider range of income that you have now to be more aggressive and make more money. But I see a lot of people not doing this. As soon as they get a higher salary, they immediately increase their expenses. So be careful of that. The next thing is learning outside of the job. I'm guilty of this, and many others are too, because it's very easy to kind of get lazy in a way as far as keeping your sword sharp. And what I mean by that is to continue to learn more outside of work. Once you start getting into these jobs, you start having projects, and at the end of the day, sometimes the last thing you want to do is do more coding or even be on a computer at all. But over time, this can kind of start to slow you down, and I even started noticing that I would be forgetting things that I knew very well, at one point. So lately, anytime I have any downtime, I will go back, start reading up on things, start doing different exercises again, start trying to build things again, just to keep my mind in shape. You want to make sure that you're ready at all times to move to the next level. But you can't do that if only thing you've been focusing on is the projects and deliverables for the company that you work at, and then you forgot about yourself in the end. Like one of my friends used to always tell me, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. The next one is very important and often overlooked, and it's something very serious to me, and that's you have to stay physically active. We sit down all day long, and some people, they have a stand-up desk. They may stand up all day long, but either way, you're not moving around much when you're doing software development. It's not good for you to be 30 years old and having hip and lower back pain from sitting down all day, and that's from being inactive, not using your core muscles much, so your lower back starts to get stressed out and tight because it's trying to support your posture and everything. So I take fitness very seriously. I mentioned it before, but I love lifting weights. I love the gym. I like jump roping, so I lift weights 3 to 4 times a week. And to do this, I have to wake up between 6 and 6:30 a.m. to be able to get my workout in, get back home before my first stand-up call, and start the workday, because this is the only way that I can fit in time to make sure I'm physically active and I'm in shape. I also make sure I'm drinking a lot of water. I noticed so many changes in my body once I started to consume a lot of water. It helped me with my energy level, it helped me with my clarity and my thinking, better skin, better sleep, and the biggest thing is that it controls your appetite. When you go and you're working and you're dehydrated, you have a similar feeling of being hungry. So it's very easy to see developers and they're snacking all day long because they think that they're hungry, but they really might just be dehydrated and thirsty. So you combine snacking all day, sitting down all day, and not being physically active at any point throughout the week, you can imagine what this does to your body as the years go on. So if you're not active, I recommend you start doing something now. Maybe even if it's just a 20 to 30 minute walk, a few times a week to start off slow, but you have to start doing something. Take your health seriously, because you might be young now, but you won't be young forever. So that's what I have for you. If you like the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this.